You're watching The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales, streaming live daily to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Imagine being at a convention and going to an interview panel that's just for you. No bustling crowds, no hours-long lines, just you, the moderator, and your favorite comic book creators. Well, this is pretty much that. Miss Jen sits down every week with 2 comic book creators for a live stream interview about their latest work, and you could ask them whatever you want. It's Talking Shop, Mondays at 5 Eastern on The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales.
Hi, my name is Brian Phillipson, co-writer on Weed Magic and co-founder of Bliss on Tap Publishing and home of Duel, and you're watching The Experience.
Hi, what's going on?
What's going on?
All right, so we've got, I didn't put Amy's name on there. My bad.
We're on, okay.
All right, so we have Amy here tonight.
The rack isn't working anymore.
What do you want me to do with the rack? You want me to just knock it over? I mean, I set it up, dude.
It's not working.
Don't touch the rack, John. Don't touch the product. We got Alec in the house. What's going on,
What's
brother?
going on, man? How you guys doing tonight?
Oh, I'm kind of tired, and I had a run around today. I was just sharing my story. Hey, what's going on? Preston's in the house.
Did you exhaust yourself reading all the Dynamite comics?
Well, that wasn't the go around. Josh went, hey, buddy, looks like AR has shoulder hair length in the thumbnail photo.
I did at one point.
And weird, what's going on? Yeah, so relaying my story today of wasted effort, right? So my daughter back in May, end of May, she got T-boned by a teenage driver. I
remember that.
Yeah, I shared the story with the viewers. I share everything with the viewers. And there was like a month and a half, 2 months of me arguing with their insurance company to get the payout. Finally got the payout, and then we got all busy and stuff. So finally went to get her car. So we picked it up on Friday. Well, I didn't know this in the state of New Jersey, right? So I told my daughter, all right, I'll take my lunch and we'll go get it inspected. Roll up into the place. And the guy goes, oh, you can't get it inspected with temporary tags. I said, but I read the paperwork. I only have 14 days. He goes, yeah, you do. From the time you get your real tags.
Oh, my God.
Now I'm stuck behind a woman who drove her Prius to get inspected, and then all of a sudden didn't know how to drive it. The inspector guy actually had to lean in and do some things, and then she finally pulled out. So I wasted a whole hour going to state inspection for no reason. So there you go. There's my story. So other than that, yeah, right. So Preston, he left Oklahoma and got a real job.
If anything, I left Oklahoma and I don't have a real job anymore.
That's right. You had a real job in Oklahoma.
I had one there,
right? With the military. Now you're full-time comic book dude.
Yeah, now I just do comics. It's a lot of fun.
Hey, Ron, what's going on, buddy? Let's see. Oh, and Weir's not drinking today. Maybe you should save the name drops there, buddy. Oh my God. John's got a big watch, and he took the big watch off. Is that the drawing for tonight? John's big watch.
Fancy.
He won't even acknowledge it. Just that's it.
Yeah, no way. John, you cannot separate John and his watches. Okay, his wife has tried. Trust me, he's told me many times. And Weird, I don't know what state are you in? I forget.
Oklahoma doesn't have to do it either.
Yeah, a lot of states don't. New Jersey does, but it's gotten simpler. They used to do a lot of things. Now I think they just test for emissions. But they used to do. They used to check your blinkers, your lights, everything. Yeah. So the only upside is, I know in Pennsylvania you have to pay for it yourself.
Yeah.
In New Jersey, you can go to an actual inspection center by RDMV that they call MVA. Really? Yeah, and then but don't go at the end of the month because the line is ridiculous. Okay,
I
Michigan.
can only imagine.
Yeah, so that's why I wanted to go today, because it's the beginning of the month and nobody goes at the beginning of the month. Everybody waits because it expires at the end of the month. Everybody waits until like the last few days of the month, and then the line is out the door. Today it was like one car ahead of us.
Did you give the guy a little wink and a copy of Sirens Gate to kind of smooth your way in?
Yeah, no, there was one person ahead of me. And if that would have worked, I would have gotten the car inspected.
That sucks,
okay.
though.
All right.
I hate going there to begin with, and then to realize it was just a waste of time. I was like, oh my god.
Well, I would have been more pissed off if I had to wait in a long
In theory,
line.
it's all a waste of time, right?
What's that?
In theory, it's all a waste of time, right?
In theory.
Well, in New Jersey, they removed most of the penalties for getting pulled over with expired tags. So now, even if I don't have my tag, what are you going to do?
Well, they've
like
been
$50
they've been lenient. There's been like a standing order to just because after the pandemic, everything was processing slower at the DMV. So if you had temp tags that expired, the cops would just ignore it. But I don't know if that's true. No, Ed Weird, no, not every month.
No, it's just
my
once
daughter
a
just
year.
got a new car. You only have to do it once a year. So no, it is not every month.
What kind of card she get?
We ended up getting a Nissan Versa. Maybe.
Made famous by the
I'm trying to
NBC
be
show
nice, but
Heroes.
at any second I'm ready to go. Like, come on, comics. That's what people are here for. Let's go.
Ron-
I'm sharing a personal anecdote.
Ron
with Ed
says,
Weird.
does she run the show tonight? Like she's not running the show every
You just get to see her relax
tonight.
in the lounge chair there. Yeah,
Sadly, I had nothing better to do. So
we got her a Nissan Versa. I feel like I got a pretty good price, but it was a referral. It's always a referral, right?
Mhm.
So the dealership is a friend of mine. His son, about the same age as my daughter, bought a car there. I said, I know this guy. He's trustworthy. So I went. We looked at the car. Bang, bang. They gave me a good deal, and out the door we went. So
Cool.
pretty happy with it. It's just it's just a pain. The whole process is a pain.
It's horrible. It's horrible.
It just I hate doing it. And when I bought my car, I bought a stick. Yeah, there you go, Ed Weird. I bought a stick, so I had all these grandiose plans of how my daughter would learn to drive a stick. It took her out 3 times. She stalled out, and all I could picture was her making a left turn, stalling out, and getting taken out T-boned by a tractor trailer. So that ended real quick. Preston, you are correct. We have not talked about sports and spam. In terms of sports, go Birds. Looks like thank you, Amy. Looks like there is an impending QB controversy happening in Dallas, although Robbie completely tried to poo-poo it on Monday.
I actually messaged him about it too. I said, I hope you guys keep winning because it's going to be real spicy when Dak comes back.
Well, I think it was announced today that Dak will not be back for the Rams, still having gripping problems. So we're going to see Cooper Rush. And if Cooper Rush beats the Rams, I don't think he will. Okay, it's the Rams. But if Cooper Rush beats the Rams, you tell me there's not going to be a QB controversy there.
Oh, there.
Thank you, Jay Barnes. Huh?
Oh, there's going to definitely be one.
If he has a good showing against the Rams, I think he got one.
Spam musubi is delicious.
But pre-made at the deli,
Mm-hmm.
it's worth it. It's worth it. I would pick it up if they had it at my supermarket.
Well, I'll tell you right now, spam musubi is a better bet than I see people eat supermarket sushi.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
I'm like,
I got to admit, I am guilty of it. It's late. We've just done the show. I stop at the ShopRite that John also stops at. Now I got another anecdote, and then we'll get to the best offer items.
in the second hour.
What kind of store doesn't do spam musubi? My local supermarket, my local ShopRite, Preston, they do not. I'm very upset about it. I think I'm going to have to write something and put it in the suggestion
We have
box.
ShopRites in our immediate area that really pared everything back. There are ShopRites like in Cherry Hill where they have sushi being made. Like you can order stuff, and then you get to sort of
West Berlin has one.
Well, and then you get to like Mount Laurel, and for some reason they're just kind of very.
We've got to be the smallest
downsized.
ShopRite in the area. So here's an interesting anecdote, and then we'll get to the best offer books. So yesterday, during lunch, I had to go to the mall. Okay, the local mall here. So I always try to go where John recommends, and there is in the food court there's a place called Mad Dog Grill. Moon Dog Grill. Sorry, not Mad Dog. I love their chili dogs. Okay, and their hot dogs are good, and John says their burgers are good, so I'll have to try one of those. So we talked about it, and I talked to I saw the owner there, and I said, "Are you the owner?" He goes, "Yes." I go, "We might have mutual friends." He goes. I go, "John Cole." He goes, "Are you kidding? John was just here literally 5 minutes ago." He goes, "He was there to see a movie." Shocker. He went to see Smile, which we discussed on Monday.
Oh, how was it?
I think it's very good. Smile
Really?
Smile's original. It's different. And it takes place in New Jersey, which I love.
I'm really surprised, actually. I assumed it was going to be bad. I just did.
All right. So today, instead of name dropping, we're gonna see how long it takes before Amy actually falls asleep. Because she looks bored as hell.
I hear a gentle snoring to my right.
Yeah, Amy, you didn't just meet me, okay? You know that my job in life is to antagonize people, and the more you do that, the more I kind of don't want to talk about comics because I'm just that kind of personality. All right, let's get to the best offer items. All right, before Amy passes out. All right, so we have Justice League number 53, cover A, signed in silver by Liam Sharp. Suggested retail of $69.99. It is a best offer book starting at $19.60. It's number 28 of 53, signed in silver. So that's our first best offer book of the night. Jay Burns, and weird Facebook isn't working for you and won't let me comment. So hello, boss. I know it's lonely over there. Yeah, I know.
Working?
I was going to say, do we got two pictures?
I don't know. JD, you got them all or you don't?
Is Smile a rehash of The Ring? I'll say this: Smile is derivative.
There we go.
Some current trending type horror. It's not. I think they put it together in an original way, but yeah, you'll pick out parts of other movies, like certain jump scares that they've staged or whatever previously. I've seen it 3 times now, and I thought it was very good.
Yeah, so it was not a shocker. And then I tried to freak John out by texting him. I know you're at the movies watching Smile.
Like, what?
Question mark. Okay. My goal was to get you looking over your shoulder like, wait, is he following me?
See, here's the thing with that one though. Is that really like that crazy of a thing? Like text them, hey, I know you're at the movies. I mean, you're always at the movies.
That's a good point. I actually probably 60-40 shot that I'm right.
I got at least 7 different texts where people assume I'm in New York at Comic-Con.
But here's the thing, though. I thought what might freak him out was that I knew what movie he was going to see.
It's the newest movie, though.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything. He's seen all newest movies like the day they came out 4 times.
I guess you're right.
Sometimes I go to midnight shows to see the movies.
See? So there you go.
I've ordered my Black Panther watch, and I'm all excited for Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
I got my tickets.
Oh, I'm so excited for that movie. I actually haven't been this excited for like a Marvel anything in quite a while.
I don't know. The trailer with Namor jumping around seemed kind of fakey.
As opposed to Atlanteans that fly in real life?
I'm just saying.
I was going to say, I've never seen someone do that in real life.
I'm just saying, okay? All right, so next up we got Army of Darkness, 1979, number 3, TMNT homage, signed with a true remark by Ken Hazer. Suggested retail of $89.99. It is a best offer book for $19.93.
That's sweet.
Yeah, so you see on the bottom left-hand corner is the actual remark.
Of Ash.
So, of Ash, thank you. I'm excited about Wakanda Forever as well. I just thought, I don't know. I just expected so much more from the Namor. And
I wish they had gotten a name actor to be Namor, someone that you could get like real invested in, but they just didn't go that route. So now
who would you pick for that role?
They spent all their money on Christian Bale with Gore, and they realized how that works.
And we're super hyped for Werewolf by Night. I hear it's great. I'm hearing early reviews. I hear it's great. I'm excited.
Wait, when's that come out again? Is that soon?
I want to say this Friday.
We might be wrong, but I think it's this Friday.
Ooh.
I am really, really behind, unfortunately, on that.
Have you seen Winter Soldier? How far behind are you?
No, I'm not that far behind. All right, so
Werewolf by Night. It looks like they're kind of doing touching like
October 7th.
Universal Studios black and white.
And those are my movies.
Yeah,
let me tell you.
Oh, it's gonna be so cool.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that.
On October 1st on the big screen. That's the Mummy and Bride of Frankenstein. Yeah,
Nice.
You asked me how far behind I am.
Edward's right. It is Friday.
It is on Friday. There you go, Edward.
I know what I'm watching when I get home from work.
I have not caught up on House of the Dragon. I have not caught up or even tried to go back with Rings of Power. I've just have not.
I think Rings of Power is something you binge on a real snowy day, right?
SheHulk. I'm behind on a lot of stuff. Part of it, I hate to say it, it was when football season started. You know, at the beginning of the season, I mean, you're deluged. I mean, you got Monday night game, you got Thursday night game, you got, you know, you got the Sunday games. Then you're gonna have the games in London that start at 9:30.
You're gonna want to catch up on SheHulk because tomorrow
is the big one.
Is the big day, which they've already kind of spoiled it coming out of New York Comic Con, but there's some clips already out there on the internet. But you probably want to catch up.
All you grouchy fans, I'm sure you'll be happy.
All right, so here we go. These are the last 3 best offer books, so we can get through them. Mad Balls versus Garbage Pail Kids, #1. Premium metal virgin cover by Joe Simcoe. It's just a retail of $100. It is a best offer book starting at $50. All right.
As excited as I am for what I'm assuming is going to be the big episode with the character we've all been waiting for, I still don't have high hopes. The show just hasn't done it for me. I haven't really liked almost any of the episodes. No, I think SheHulk's a pretty bad show.
I've enjoyed it, but it hasn't wowed me. So far, the only one that's really wowed me has been way back Peacemaker. That I watched. And
I want season 2 to be She-Hulk Vacations in Egypt with Moon Knight, just to watch all the Whingers go into overdrive, like how angry they are at that point.
Now, what I will say is once I processed it and really came to terms that it truly is just like a sitcom TV show that really doesn't have a real plot line going. Like
it's fun.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's all it is a fun show. But I guess that's just not really what I wanted. I wanted like a cool, you know, She-Hulk, maybe team up with Hulk. I don't know, something like that. But if you just get that through, that it truly is just a sitcom. It's
we talked about this,
show.
Right? Marvel kind of owned this action fiction comic book movie space, right? And now they've moved out into horror. I mean, we talked about this before. Multiverse of Madness, there's a fair amount of horror movie DNA in there.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And
that's Sam Raimi.
Yeah, I mean, that's Sam Raimi, right? And now they kind of moved into the sitcom space with She-Hulk.
Right.
I think now we're going to be moving into the classic horror movie space with Werewolf by Night. I think they're trying to see exactly what the boundaries in the MCU are. I talked about this, I think, a while back, actually.
I never asked you, what you think when they dropped the Secret Invasion trailer? How do you feel about how that show looks? Because
I thought it looks good.
You think it looks good?
I was very happy with it, but
I generally have high hopes for it because I'm like, because I don't mind a toned down story if it's executed very well. But if they really make it like the sci-fi espionage.
That's what I think they're obviously going to go for. There's no way that they can truly do the Secret Invasion storyline. I assume they were going to go more of like the spy route, kind of, and I'm excited for it. I would rather have obviously the real Secret Invasion. That's a really good story, but
yeah, I just don't think I don't think it's feasible. I think to get the actors that you would need, I mean, because there's like, you need a huge part of the MCU to be part of this.
I was going to say that's a big cast right there.
That's a huge cast. I mean, people said the Avengers Endgame and Infinity Stone was a large cast. Secret Invasion is actually that much larger. I don't think that works. I think it's smart to make it for the most part, the MCU has worked when they've changed things. Like they changed Civil War, right? I was not a huge fan of Civil War in the comics. I thought it was a lot of hype. I thought it was engineered to sell books. I thought they sort of did characters a disservice with the understanding that we'll just undo it all next year anyway.
Right.
So what am I spending all this money and time investing in when I know Captain America's not really dead? I know Iron Man didn't really orchestrate his assassination, but yet people paid $50, $60, $70, $80. I forget what the buy-in for that book was if you did everything there. I think the Civil War that they did with Captain America worked just fine.
I think so too.
I would agree. I would agree. Yeah. I mean, I think that Josh Wentz puts it best. There's so much MCU Marvel stuff now that we've come to a point where you don't have to watch it all. Before when you didn't have a lot, okay, the Avengers series was running, whatever. You only had a few things. That JD, that's actually a very good point.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
And I gotta say that Peacemaker was fantastic. They stumbled onto something. They're trying to recreate it with She-Hulk. It's just kind of not working because I don't know. There is a cynicism in Peacemaker, that works. It's like, his dad's a white supremacist, and then he evolves. It's She-Hulk, a nice lawyer who happens to be cousins with.
I saw an interview with Jessica Gao, right? And she talked about, in her mind, She-Hulk is like the women's space of the MCU. And she's like, and she attributes, a lot of genderism for the reason why people just don't like the show. For the same reason why, John Byrne talked about this, the massive amount of letters that he would get every time She-Hulk defeated some guy in combat. We would have to sift through the letters column to find 10 or 12. And he said it right out. It was just very open. He said it at a con. This was a while back. He's like, if you don't like the book because you don't like the art, you don't like the writing, okay, no problem. He expects you to move on down the rack and find something else. If you're not liking any book, even not just She-Hulk, if you're not liking any book because you don't like the race or the gender of the character, that's a you problem. That's not a Marvel problem, whether it's the MCU or Marvel Publishing. Right. And that they set out to do a sitcom, as Jessica Gao said, in the female storytelling space. And almost every female friend I have that is into comics loves She-Hulk. Almost none of them dislike it. They think it's funny. Sometimes they recognize, I have friends who lived in the city when they were younger, and they recognize a lot of what she goes through, the dating issues, the problem, the kind of balancing between being a good professional and they all recognize that.
You bring up a good point because it feels like, to me, it's kind of Sex in the City with gamma rays.
A little bit, yeah. And I think that's intentional. I don't think there's elements to that. Plus, at the end of the day, though, this is a Marvel show, right? So people will sit through the jokes and stuff like that, and they will wait for the part where she hulks out or she hulks out. And you know what I mean?
So, all right. Well, I mean, who else we got here? Lyle, what's going on, buddy? Where Rupenstein, I think I saw Kenneth Bird in the house earlier.
From what Josh said, my girlfriend also really hates She-Hulk. It's probably she hates Moon Knight the most, but
she hates Moon Knight the most.
Yeah, she don't like She-Hulk. I think one of the main issues is just the plot itself. To me, is they go back and forth on a lot of stuff. But I think she kills it as She-Hulk. I think she does a really good job.
I do too.
I'm not sure what the actress's name is off the top of my head, but
Tatiana
Maslany from Orphan
is the
Black.
best actress currently living.
Oh my goodness,
she's doing a fantastic job. I'll give her that.
I'd be happy to.
All right, so let me get the last two best offer books. So then we had
Clone Club when we come back.
Red Sonja Valentine's special premium metal cover. It's just at retail of $100. And we have the one available for $50. Oh, I'm sorry. Best offer starting at $50, rather. All right. And then we have a best offer graded book, The Reanimator.
It's a fun series.
CGC graded 9.8. It's just a retail of $89.99. It is a best offer book starting at $50. So, Moonhawk, She-Knight.
Now, I was gonna say I don't want to keep harping on it. I know we're past She-Hulk, but pardon me. I think this is kind of like a Moon Knight situation where, to me, I really didn't like Moon Knight, but the best part of it was Oscar Isaacs. He did such a phenomenal job. He did the most with what he was working with, and I think, to me, She-Hulk is the same way. I don't really like what's going on, but that actress that plays She-Hulk, she is killing it in her role, and she's doing a phenomenal job, and she's a joy to actually watch. But
yeah, I agree. I think she's doing great in the role. The storyline there, you can see what Marvel's doing. They're trying all these different venues and sticking.
And would you rather them try something new than just keep doing the same old thing? So if they try it,
I'm not disagreeing that you should try something new. But when you do that, you have to realize there's a segment, and again, there's too much. I don't want to say too much, but there's so much that you're not going to like everything that they're producing. It's just not going to happen. Whereas before it was very contained. You had the Avengers movies coming out. You had single shot movies coming out. So there wasn't a whole lot. Now there's so much. You can pick and choose whatever and so on and so forth. So, again, I'm not saying it's a bad thing to try something new, but they are definitely throwing everything against the wall to see what's going to stick.
And I do like that they're doing that. I already deemed this whole phase as kind of a wash. Like, I really didn't think most of the movies were that good. I'm not really a fan of a lot of the TV shows. But if you look at literally, I think everything that's come out this year, almost every single thing is different. All the shows have a different type of just vibe to it, like a little bit more horror. Maybe it's funnier, maybe a little bit of seriousness, action, drama. Everything is different. The movies are different. Doctor Strange was basically a horror movie. Spider-Man, that was all action. Thor, well, that was the comedy. So I like what they're doing where they're trying all these new things. And then now moving into the next phase, I think hopefully what they do is they take all of these different aspects and they see what has worked in the past. And they're like, all right, well, we can throw a little bit into this. But, they're trying. And I like that. They're trying the new stuff.
Right.
Well, a movie that gets forgotten, Edward just mentioned about a Marvel Horrorverse. And I'll tell you a movie that gets forgotten. And with good cause, because it was awful beyond the telling of it, was New Mutants. They had the right idea, though. The movie was kind of terrible. They didn't execute it. But if you watch the way the movie was shot, that's essentially a horror movie. And if they could have made it quite not so terrible, I think that even there are people who like New Mutants. And I think that was the first indication that Marvel had legs in the horror space.
Right.
Because if you watch New Mutants, and I don't recommend anyone do it, because to me that's like neck and neck with Morbius.
I couldn't even get through it.
I heard it's bad.
I couldn't even get through it.
But if you watch the way it's shot, especially people that are experienced with movies, it's shot like a horror movie.
Yeah, but I think we always knew that it would have legs in the horror kind of realm because of Blade.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean that was. And we're going to get that again, right? That's
yeah. So I feel like
or Disney Plus.
I don't know. I had this.
It's going to be a movie. I'm pretty sure it's a movie.
So I agree with you there, but I think that we always kind of knew that. Listen, don't get me wrong. I think that what they're doing is fine in the sense that they are experimenting. As Amy says, you would certainly rather them do this as to put what's happening over at WB Discovery. Okay, they're just slacking everything. Everything's getting shelved. Everything's getting shelved. Let us decide if it's good or bad.
At the same
That's so terrible.
At the same time, though, I do get a lot of fans like gripes with the stuff. Like, yeah, they're trying all these new things. Some people like it, some don't. At the same time, they had all these phases that were fantastic. If you watch a Marvel movie, I mean, realistically, you know what you're getting into. It's superhero. There's going to be action. There's going to be fighting. A serious tone to a movie because half the time they're trying to save the world or save something. So I get why some people are upset by all of these things because it's like, well, they're changing Marvel completely. But, it's better to try out new things, my opinion.
No, I totally agree. I think it's better that they're trying to expand into the space and do something that's going to be different.
I've been part of the movie online culture for a long time, right?
Really?
Yeah, I mean, dating back to like the birth of the internet. And I'll tell you right now, I remember people complaining about Captain America, the First Avenger. This is the death of the Marvel Universe. We won't get anything else. That's
my
awful.
uncle's favorite MCU movie, period. That's one's his favorite.
And then I remembered people saying when they did Thor, the second Thor movie with Malekith, and they didn't do a very good job. They really didn't do a very good job. I'm surprised Marvel Comics did War of the Realms after the way it got buried in the movie. But that led to Thor Ragnarok, which everybody loved.
Right.
So people have a tendency to not be moderate in their criticisms or critiques. I mean, I see people saying this is literally the worst things my eyes have ever seen. And they're talking about like an episode of Moon Knight or something. I'm like, Really? The worst thing your eyes have ever seen? And I realize people are dramatic for effect or whatever, but it's just not the way it is.
Well, you remember Siskel and Ebert? They thrived on that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem too. You can't get a reasonable. I think on this show we generally tend to have a reasonable criticism. Even, and I've said this before, I've bashed this movie a lot. Even something like Morbius, they had the right idea. If you read some of the Morbius stuff from the 70s and 90s, there was an opportunity there for great storytelling. They had a really good cast for the most part.
Yeah.
And then somewhere along the line, it becomes this. It goes off the rails. I'm not even going to try to guess where it went off the rails. But on day one of shooting, if I'm an investor or involved in the movie, especially if I've done a little research, I'm optimistic. I'm thinking, hey, you know what? Marvel Knights in the 90s, really some good stuff. Morbius has had a few really cool appearances here and there over the years. There was a reason to invest in that movie, both emotionally and, financially for the backers. And then all of a sudden, I guess, the slate clicks and they start shooting. And
all right, so we got to take our first break. Stay with us, and we'll keep talking about this and a bunch of other things. All right, so stay with us. We'll be back in a couple minutes.
Thanks for tuning into The Experience. Help us out and hit subscribe over on YouTube and click the bell when you do. Need some help? Scan the QR code in the bottom corner.
To be continued. 3 little words that hold the secret to the next great story. 3 words that will thrill you, confound you, give life to new possibilities. Every variation of To Be Continued is a promise of adventure, a promise of excitement, a promise of unseen wonders and unexplored worlds. A promise that every issue you read makes you a part of a never-ending journey. And behind every page, there will be an unopened door waiting for you. This story to be continued at your local comic book shop today. Visit comicshoplocator.com today.
Are you a comic creator? Are you a publisher? Do you make a comic book product? Do you own a retail store? Do you do something I haven't thought of? Who are you and what do you do? Let us know by advertising on The Experience and invite our viewers to patronize your product. Message the EXP on social media or email us _EXP@yahoo.com for more details.
Hi, this is Trish Forster.
And I'm Tony Fleece. We make the Image comic book Stray Dogs. You're watching The Experience.
All right, so heated debate here during the break.
It wasn't a debate, just
well, they were sort of agreeing with each other. So
I should have come back holding my eye like all flitched.
that actually would have been pretty funny, to be quite honest. So all right, so you know what? We've been talking about SheHulk quite a little bit, so let's throw up.
Wait, what's this heated debate?
Well, wait, we'll get into the debate. You know, I got
but SheHulk, yes, we have great commission cover art tonight.
There we go.
Please put it up. It's
all right.
incredible.
So Secret Invasion #1.
No pun.
Oh wow, that is good.
Signed with SheHulk cover sketch by Joe Del Beato and Mariano Nicieza. It's just at retail $149.99. We have the one available for $75 tonight. All right. So talking about Mariano,
You want to make it 80 so the kid gets a few bucks out of this stuff?
That's also
He's no
that's
kid. He's older than I am.
that's also a really cool signature from Del Beato.
Yes. Actually, that was colored in by Mariano.
That's really cool.
Can you find that one? Where's Mariano's signature?
Looks like the very bottom.
Okay. Oh yeah, it's covered by the crawl.
Yeah, if you take the crawl away for a second, you'll see it.
All right, Preston, you got it, buddy. It's yours, my friend.
Yeah, that's
All right.
gorgeous. That's absolutely
Yeah. So just to segue into this, and then we'll get back to the debate. Yeah, the atmosphere is much calmer. Yeah, we got Amy here. Just wait until I bring up Blade Runner 2049.
Oh no!
I'm really good.
I heard that movie is so bad.
I'm so over that by now. Like, just
I can get you all riled up.
Oh my
Don't worry,
goodness.
I have faith in myself. So what we're going to try to do, we've been talking about it. It's been really cool having Mariano here, coloring live on air.
So I'm going to color next week. No.
So we decided to switch it around. Actually, yes. Mariano will help me with the color commentary, and John will color. He's going to bring his 64 count
I got all
Crayola
64 in the box ready to
with
go.
the sharpener.
What if it's just Mariano just telling you what to do? Like, okay, take the yellow, put it here.
All right, and
that
that will
Color
be
my numbers for me.
and the one that John Cole colors will be on sale for -$5.
I know,
Meaning I will
right?
pay you $5
$5.
and cover shipping for
my
you to
God.
take that book. Coming your way, Alec. If I can't
I
sell
know,
it.
right?
Yeah. For Stelios, can we bring up Sirens Gate real quick?
Sure. Let me see.
Shannon Mayer
All
worked his butt off on this.
Here we go. Okay, John Spillios. Here we go, buddy. All right. It's okay. I can insult Blade Runner 2049 later in the show.
Oh
no. Sirens Gate #1, Shannon Mayer Virgin cover, suggested retail of $50, and we have the one by for $40 available tonight. All right, this is an awesome.
It's
cover.
really good. The book is really good too. I mean, the truth is the art is going to dominate this, but the story so far is good.
Joel, welcome back, my friend. John does not paint by numbers. My hope is that John will somewhat stay within the lines. Okay, but I'm saying I don't think so.
Yeah, that's unlikely, man.
Wait, what's it?
John's claims.
All right, you got it, John. It's yours, buddy.
I got to tell you that.
You can thank Amy for that one.
People have waited a while for this. You know, artists that paint covers to do a whole book.
Right.
You know, it takes them, a while, and
Yeah,
this
it
is
does.
as good as anything I've seen.
Well, we've
this.
seen. I mean, we've seen Mariano work, and it takes him, pretty much the length of the show. He says he could do it faster, but we've got our banter left and right.
He's
Distracting.
interrupted with nonsense.
It's like trying to color a comic or a sketch, in the middle of a war, with me and John just randomly talking about stuff.
And Josh, yeah, you're right. I've done that before with sauces on a plate to make it look nice, different colors or whatever. Sort of. I tried to do the yin and yang with white rice and black rice.
Cool.
It came out fairly well.
Okay. Well, this isn't food. This is coloring. Okay.
Well, you have to the food color. Most of the first element of food is visual.
I agree.
It's a terrible color. So
I agree. I totally agree with that. But that doesn't mean that someone who can paint a painting can cook.
Oh, sure. It's all the same.
No, John, it is not.
It's all the same.
It is not.
So can you paint or cook?
I can cook a little bit, but I don't anymore because essentially my daughter's never home anymore, so we don't eat meals together. Thank God for softball. I never see the kid. Josh, I totally agree with the food. I never question John about food. John is the expert. I stay in my lane. All I do is get recommendations from him. I still have to try that barbecue joint, the Ma and Pa's, the one in Rancocas. Yeah. I passed by there so many times. I haven't had a chance to stop and just go and have some barbecue. But so far John has not led me wrong. And he even brought that crappy. I pass that toasted place every day, dude. And John was there to review it. If you haven't heard about it, the new place opened around the corner from my house, right in the ShopRite supermarket.
They're very nice people.
Yeah, you said that, which usually means there's something very negative coming behind that. So I was very excited because it used to be a bagel place, which was pretty crappy, and I got into a fight with one of the owners there, and then never went back.
Oh, he's that guy.
Yeah, I'm that guy, dude. Okay, I'm that guy. All I ordered was a toasted bagel, whitefish salad. Okay, and she sat there. 3 more guys come in. She takes care of all of them. Doesn't put my order in, and I say, "Excuse me, I've been waiting here for 20 minutes." She does a big, well, I'm taking care of these gentlemen. I said, "I was here before they even walked in. What do you mean?" Okay, so I never went back there, and then they closed. I can see why. Their bagels were lousy anyway. It just happened to be around the corner from my house. And, having to work.
And Rick's wife is still mortified by my popcorn recipe. I mean, it's not the usual, but it works.
It sounds delicious to me. I'm sorry. I have no problem with lard. I have no problem with bacon grease. None of these things are a problem for me.
Well, I say this: if I make you popcorn, make sure you have like one of those little hand wipes, sort of.
It's like that, is it, John? I definitely want some of your popcorn now.
My popcorn tends to be shiny.
I like shiny. Shiny is good. Shiny is definitely good. So JD wants LA recommendations. What do you know in LA?
LA recommendations? Are you sure? Is that Los Angeles or Louisiana?
No, Los Angeles. JD's from California.
Probably. I would probably, depending on the kind of food you like, but when I am in Los Angeles, and I've been a few times, every time I've gone to Osteria, it's been literally no complaints. There's nothing. And I always.
What is the average price of the entrees at Osteria?
Oh, I can only imagine.
Yeah, John has a very expensive palate.
It's not reasonably priced for the average person. I'll put it that way.
So, are you saying it's going to cost more than McDonald's adult Happy Meal?
It's probably, and I don't want to be unfair to them, but I would say you're looking at with a reasonable wine, not a crazy wine, but with a reasonable wine, you're probably looking at about 90 a person.
Oh my goodness!
All right, JD. I don't know if you want to cross that one off your list or not.
I mean, Spago was on my list for
Spago. Even I know that one. The rich celebrities go there, man. JD says there are many osterias. So I don't know what that means because I've never been there. So to that restaurant. All right. So
I'm sorry. I was just a message from Osteria Mazza. I wasn't.
Okay. There you go.
Nakatomi Plaza. Oh wait, that's where I have my Christmas dinner.
Oh, well said, Edward.
I have that ugly Christmas sweater too. It's not Christmas until someone punches chops.
And that is a Christmas movie. Fight me. Okay. That is a Christmas movie.
It turns out he did know the place I was talking about.
All right. So next up, we got Uncanny X-Men number 286. Facsimile edition, Elite Gold Signature Series, signed by Andy Kubert. Suggested retail of $100, and we have one available, number 9 of 25 for $75. Listen, Die Hard, definitely a Christmas movie, and I consider now Hawkeye a Christmas series.
Yeah, I will absolutely. Hawkeye will go into my rotation when I start watching. I usually start watching Christmas movies like November 1st.
Nice.
So
it's just amazing. And such a shocker that I almost ran into John and it makes sense. The movie theater he goes to, the Regal that he single-handedly put out of business, is located right off the food court. Yeah. So it makes sense that he would go see his buddy, grab a hot dog.
Yard House is right there too for an alcoholic, an adult beverage.
Oh yeah, You know what? I've never been in that Yard House, believe it or not. I've been to the one up in Morristown.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've never been the original one. I've never been to this one. I have not gone. I literally, unless I have something that I have to buy there, I just go in the mall. If I'm hungry, I'll go to the food court and go to one of those, Moondog Grill or the Japanese place. I won't go anymore because they jacked up the prices.
They did jack up the prices.
And you're getting
my buddy at Taco said,
no,
I saw all these guys come over. Everybody went over because they're a big food court. Everybody went over.
Have we put X23 up yet?
No, not yet. Let's see. I didn't want to blow through all the CCAs,
do them all.
No, I refuse. I have the sheet. I'm in control.
Oh,
I've been eyeing up that Venom the whole time too.
We can do that one next, maybe. I'll think about it. I like you, Alex. So we might.
I got the shirt that matched tonight.
Oh, look at that!
Nice.
Oh,
nice.
John, turn around. We got to see your shirt.
I don't think anyone's going to see my shirt, but I do have a picture of it.
John, what are your favorite cities for food? Rex, your favorite restaurants to put out of business? As if I could put them out of business. John can though. John will come in with his little food critic shirt on and wipe you out, man. He made those people at the new place I was talking about, Toasted, cry pretty much. I'm pretty sure they were crying after you left.
They weren't happy. Although I told people in our Facebook group for food, which is like 20,000 people in the area, I said, check it out for yourself. I said, everybody's tastes are different. I said, here's the pictures of the horrific sandwich they served me. And, and it was like $18.
Yep. So that's what John does when he's not doing this. He goes around making owners of restaurants cry.
I also
should start a TV show like that.
You know what? I never take credit for anybody else's work, but my friends at Bellagio's,
great bakery.
They just did
down the road.
They just did an interview with Fox 29, and they gave me inordinate amount of credit for publicizing them during the pandemic, and I don't take any credit for anything. I just said to people, "Hey, look, this is where the food is really good. Go find it for yourself."
He brought me a loaf of bread, and it was the perfect shape. I would have loved to have had clam chowder soup in it.
They do. I did a spicy crab soup in that bread bowl there. We were messing around because they invite me in sometimes when they're like kitchen testing and stuff like that, new things. So I took one in, cut it, and then we had a spicy crab soup, which was a little too spicy for the owners. They were
Creative Keep in the house. What's going on, buddy? All right, so let me see. What time is it? All right,
let me see. Stevie B has a good question. What are my favorite cities for food?
Yeah, what are they?
Honolulu. Of major cities, it's Honolulu.
Yes, I would agree.
Have. If I need one place to go for everything, my favorites are coffee and craft beer, real chocolate, not like terrible chocolate bars or whatever, real chocolate, sushi, and steak. Steak, pork, chicken. The best I've had of all those things is in Hawaii.
What is the dish that I love? The one with the beef patty.
Loco Moco.
Loco Moco.
And they probably have the best food trucks. And I get bashed for this all the time because I've done food truck events in New York. The best food trucks I've had, including San Diego. And I love San Diego. It's my favorite place to go for cons and that sort of thing. The best food trucks I've tried are up on the North Shore on the other side of Oahu. They're just... I
got to tell you that my first time was in Hawaii when I tried that, and it was phenomenal. It comes with the beef gravy, the egg. Oh, on a bed of rice. Oh my God. I was like, what the hell is this?
Loco was very good.
I mean, obviously it's a great place to eat because you've got the infusion of Asian cooking and then their own.
It's kind of like that crossroads of the Pacific, right? So you're getting, there's amazing Mexican restaurants there. There's amazing Italian restaurants.
I went to a luau there. That was phenomenal with the roast pig and the whole 9 yards. And the first time I had, what is it? It's the purplish paste.
Oh, ube.
Is that what it's called?
Or is it the ube is a Filipino?
Yeah, no. Yeah, it's made from taro root, isn't it?
Oh, okay.
You
Yeah,
know
I know
what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't think of the name now. That's because you're not drinking as much tonight, Ron.
Right?
Because we haven't been name dropping. All right. So let's see. You know what? Let's do this. This is cool. So it's Daredevil, The Man Without Fear, issues number 1 through 5, signed by John Romita Jr. from his personal collection.
Oh, wow.
Personal collection.
And
they made that very clear to emphasize.
Yeah. So this was his file copies, which he signed. You get all 5 copies, and we have the one set available, 1 through 5, for $400. So Josh went, yep, you're right, buddy. You're right. And Spam, yep, big fan. Hawaii, big lovers of Spam.
You're thinking of Poi.
Poi, that's it. Thank you. All right, so that is available tonight. Again, this is from JR Jr.'s personal collection, his own file copies, which he has signed, and we have all 5, and it is a complete set. 1 through 5.
Collectors love this stuff, man. People's file copies. I remember it was a year ago. We had like a Jim Starlin file copy, and it probably triggered off the biggest bidding we had. I mean, I remember that. I forget what we started it at, but people were just, Jim Starlin signed. Right. It came with a cert, and I think it was like Captain Marvel. One of the Captain Marvel things was crazy.
So Creative Keep lived in Oahu for a few years. So yeah, the food there is actually quite good. I didn't think that was going to be your guess though, or your selection. But.
Well, people ask me all the time like this, that, if I was only going to eat in one place or whatever. I have things that I like, right? And then of course there's things that I make. So you know what I mean? When people are like, well, wouldn't you go to Italy for all the food? I made Italian food for a long time. I'm good.
You're right.
But things like, things like roasted, like they have like Kona Plantation coffee at the hotel that if I buy here on the mainland is $45 a pound, and they just like hand you the coffee. Bless you when you go in.
Ron, that's too funny. I don't drink. When I got married, my wife said I couldn't be drunk and crazy, so I gave up liquor.
Nice. I like that.
Creative Keep. Station of Pearl Harbor. Okay. Yeah, it's beautiful. I'll never forget my visit there. You are looking at X23, and because Creative Keep has asked, Lyle, since Creative Keep asked, we'll go ahead and we'll run with that one next. Yes, but she's not Creative Keep. All right, so we have the Invincible Iron Man number 600 signed with X23 Wolverine cover sketch.
That's so cool.
By Joe Delbiano and Marion on Nicieza, suggested retail of $149.99. We have the one available for $75.
Steal.
It is a steal. This one I saw, and I definitely wanted to put it on tonight. All right, Creative Keep, you got it, buddy. It's yours.
I was going to say that was. There's certain books when I walk in here and I look at it, I know that they're not. I know that they'll be sold in 2 hours.
You got you, buddy. Yeah, no, I know.
And that triggers off a big thing right now. What are they going to do with Wolverine? Do you keep Hugh Jackman as Wolverine?
He's going to age out, dude.
Well, they've talked about that's fine because that works for Old Man Logan.
Right.
If they want to do Old Man Logan, there's zero
Which they should.
Which they should. And that guy is very much one of these guys that's always in shape. You know what I mean? Even though he's older now, he's a middle-aged guy. You see that guy, he looks like he's running a mile, no sweat. So they could absolutely do that. Then there are people talking about should they do X23? Like move on.
Yes.
There's a new Captain America. There's a new,
is there a reason you can't do both?
See, I'm always more is more. More is more. There's no reason. Like people were talking about, well, why can't we do the same old thing and have new comics? No, I want both. I want 8 seasons of Winter Soldier, but I certainly don't want you to not do Moon Knight. And I will keep paying if you keep making.
Well, that's not what Regal says. Oh my gosh!
And then of course, then do they recast Wolverine? They just recast the role. They find somebody else to do it.
I don't know. That's an interesting question.
The only person that really interested me was when they joked around about Daniel Radcliffe being Wolverine.
No.
Well, looks like we're not going to get a recast for a while.
Now I do think this is probably an unpopular opinion, but going off what you said, I think Old Man Logan, Hugh Jackman, if he's up for it, I think that works. Recast new Wolverine X23, just do it.
All right, so here's a question Creative Keep has.
Well, he's going to be in Deadpool 3.
I'm like you guys know he's coming back for Deadpool 3, right? Like,
yeah.
It's official. He's doing it at least one more time.
So Creative Keep has a question about the X23. I don't know the answer. Do you, John?
I don't read that much Iron Man. Although, generally speaking, everybody appears in everybody's book at some point.
Right.
That's sales driven. I don't know. I guess there's a period of time where I don't know if she was an Avenger or.
No, I don't think she ever was.
An X-Men? I don't, you know what I mean? I'm always like woefully behind with Marvel, which is why I picked up Marvel Unlimited because I had to kind of.
Dude, you could hurt somebody with that watch.
I
just banged it on the table. It sounded like like he took a bat and slammed it.
I ordered another one like this too in silver and gold for Christmas.
Shocker. I'm sure your wife is thrilled. All right. You guys want to see the Venom? All right, we'll do the Venom next then. Then we have Venom Black Blank variant signed with Silver Venom cover sketch by Ken Hazer. Suggested retail of $89.99. We have the one available for $62. I grabbed this one because I feel like the perspective is different than the ones we've had before. Again, we've talked about this endlessly, but Ken Hazer and his use of negative space is unreal. All right, John Spilios, you got it, buddy.
I love this one. Probably Venom was my second favorite cover he did like this. My first being Alien.
But this is really use of negative space, which I find just unbelievable.
I think I like the Venom one more than the Alien, and I really like the Alien one.
Yeah. You know what? Maybe next Wednesday I'll bring one of those back on.
I actually messaged Ken and I said, it would be really cool? A black wraparound cover, Alien versus Venom.
Ooh, that would be kind of cool, wouldn't it? All right, so.
Hey, so real quick to answer, I think it was Creative Keep with the X23 question. X23 is not in that issue.
Has X23 ever appeared in an Iron Man issue, though?
For some reason, I want to say no, though.
I am not the biggest Iron Man fan, and I know that makes people go, I am not the biggest Iron Man fan. If Iron Man is not in the Avengers, I am not up on, except the Superior Iron Man. That book I really liked. They cut that short too soon. I love the Superior Iron Man.
All right, so let's see. So, Preston's wife is still checking his bank account balance. All right, so let's see. What else we got here? We're going through pretty fast tonight. All right, so should we do a Rex cap? Let's do a Rex cap.
We're going to have to take a break in a few minutes anyway. So
yeah, so let's lead into a Rex cap. All right, so we had Uncanny X-Men number 266, facsimile edition, Elite Gold Signature Series, signed by Andy Kubert. Suggested retail of 100. We have the one available, number 9 of 25 for 75. And then we had Justice League number 53, cover A, signed in silver by Liam Sharp. Suggested retail is $69.99. It is a best offer book starting at $19.60. It is number 28 of 53. And then we had Daredevil, the Man Without Fear, numbers 1 through 5, signed by John Romita Jr. Each copy, 1 through 5, is signed by J.R. Jr. And it is from his personal file copy collection. We have one available for $400. Then we had Army of Darkness, 1979, number 3, TMNT homage, signed and remarked by Ken Hazer. Suggested retail of $89.99. It is the best offer book starting at $19.93. John is scrolling OnlyFans. Then we had Mad Balls versus Garbage Pail Kids, number 1, premium metal version covered by Joe Simcoe. Suggested retail of $100. Best offer book starting at $50. Ron, because Nick is not actually here. He's got meetings because of New York Comic Con, my friend.
He has my list of things I want.
The inmates are running the prison.
I said to him, do you want me to text you the list of properties I would like you to buy for next year?
Send it as an email.
Send it as an email to Rex.
Yes. Creative Keep. It is a metal cover.
That's cool.
All right. So then we have Red Sonja Valentine's special premium metal cover. And suggested retail of $100. It is best off book starting at $50.
The colors are just so vivid on metal covers, man.
And then we had the Reanimator CGC graded 9.8, suggested retail of $89.99, and it is a best offer book starting at $50. All right, so that takes us through our Rex cap. Yeah, Ron. So he's at meetings up because of New York Comic Con. Ed Weird says, I need to get Ken to draw me an evil Eddie on a blank cover at GPK. Cool. JD, don't get him started again, my friend. Ron, the Red Sonja is not signed. Yeah, it is not signed, my friend. See,
he wants you to hurry along and get it signed. Chop, chop.
I'll get right on that.
I mean, we could sign it, but probably don't want that.
Yeah, that'll be another item that's -$5. All right, cool. Thank you, Creative Keep. So you're going to start that one at 50. Thanks, Creative Keep. All right. And then when we get back, I think we got to go to a break. And when we get back, we'll talk about New Comic Book Day. All right, stay with us. We'll be right back.
Thanks for tuning into The Experience. Help us out and hit subscribe over on YouTube and click the bell when you do. Need some help? Scan the QR code in the bottom corner.
This is The Experience.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hey there, hi there, hello there. You're as welcome as can be.
Hi, I'm Nancy McCann. Welcome to Friday Night Live on The Experience.
Welcome, everybody. It's Fat Jack's Comic Crypt. Brendan, Al, Jason, hanging out.
There I am. Welcome back to Kicking It with Henry, folks. I am your host, Henry Kumpa. It's great to be here with you guys.
So we are going to talk about books that are in stores this week.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Mishmash.
Hello, and welcome to the Black Comics Universe, presented by Peep Game Comics.
And you gotta love it that the first people in a minute to skim it are creators.
Up, everybody! Welcome to another Wednesday Warriors. My name is Joey Galvez, and this is my pal Ambrosia.
Hey, everybody! Welcome to Space Cadet.
Hey!
What's up?
Welcome, everyone, for another episode of I Must Ask You a Question.
Hi, everybody! Welcome to Nerd News Now.
Hey, this is Rex. Welcome to Comic Collectables.
Hey, hello, all you happy people. Welcome to the Dan Wickline Show.
Hi, everybody, and welcome. This is the crazy show that we do on Thursdays called What's in the Box?
What's in the box?
Comic culture and sales.
All right, and we're back. So let's talk about New Comic Book Day. Everything come in or no?
Yeah, I think so. I think everything showed up today. Well, yesterday.
I didn't hear any, I didn't hear any problems or anything like that. That usually those things pop up. People get to the comic book store about 11 or 11:30. By 12 o'clock on my feed, I start seeing the middle fingers, the curse words, because some poor, some guy struggling to do his store just couldn't fill. I was like, I said to someone a few weeks ago, you think they want that? Oh man, I had to curse out my guy because blah, blah, blah wasn't in. I'm like, that's who you curse out.
So John Spilio says Sirens Gate.
Sirens Gate came out. This is a super heavy art week for Dynamite. Dynamite stories are always what attract me, but this week very much is a heavy art week. There's a very cool animation style with GPK Origins. There's Sirens Gate. Nyx has just whatever your particular vibe is for style. Nyx has like 7 or 8 covers that are they cover everything. Then there's Unbreakable Red Sonja. You know what I mean? The covers for that alone would make it a big week.
Well, Spilios wants to talk about Sirens Gate here.
Sirens Gate, I've only read issue 1. I haven't anymore. A lot of times these kind of books, the art overtakes the story. I would say in this case, the art and the story are equal, which is pretty rare because a lot of times when people would do painted books, you would have to kind of go back to like the Brereton era where you would get story and art on that, on that same level. Hey, Josh, you're right. Be kind to the LCS. If you want to get upset with somebody, hammer one of the big corporations or the publisher, leave
the poor UPS guy out of it.
Yeah.
There are no AC in their trucks, in the heat of the summer.
God, I must get that email from MoveOn. Or I signed like 8 years ago. I signed a petition for to prevent the cruelty to animal. Now MoveOn.org messages me every single day with whatever the thing was. And the big thing now is some lady is furious that there's no air conditioning in the UPS truck. And I'm like, shouldn't you be sending all these emails to UPS, hammering them?
Yeah.
What am I going to do?
Yeah, exactly.
Sure, I'll tip the guy $5 if it's a huge box, but that's not going to help him with his air conditioning.
Oh my God. All right, let's throw this up there. As always, Dynamite 10-pack reader set. Suggested retail of $3.99, cover price or higher. 10 random Dynamite titles, so it'll be a $40 or higher retail. And as always, as thank you to our viewers, $5, 50 cents a copy. Nice. Also, if it's the only item you're buying and you're trying to save on shipping because of the weight of the 10 comics, we can send it media mail, which would be to most of the country be somewhere around $4 or $5, I say. All right, so Stevie B wants to know, anybody pick up Night of the Ghoul today?
I did. I liked it.
Okay, it's already been optioned for a film, Stevie B says.
Yeah, it was made for a movie. Essentially, if you read this, it's almost like it's storyboards for a movie.
I was gonna say it basically is like a movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty solid. I actually only picked it up because I was going to get Shock Shop 2 from Dark Horse, but my shop didn't get any extra copies of it. And I assumed they weren't going to have Night of the Ghoul, and it turns out they did. So I was pretty lucky. Although I missed out on Shock Shop.
So what else did you see today that you think good, bad, and different?
There was a lot of really good ones, or a lot of pretty solid ones. I did get the Sweetie Candy Vigilante. That was really cool.
I didn't even mention that when we talked about Dynamite this week in New Comic Book Day. That's another cover that cover's very tricky.
This one I gotta. All right, so there's two I want to talk about real quick. This one's not new, but it's the Hulk, the new Hulk series. It's a brand new arc, and I've talked about. I'm not really a fan of the series like at all, but the very first page. What did it say? It said, I think Donny Cates wrote in there, said, well, this is stupid, or so this is stupid. And I thought to myself, like, oh yeah, it's probably about to be stupid. It actually wasn't a bad issue though, but I wasn't going to pick it up. And as soon as I opened it and saw that, I was like, oh, here we go. But I'll tell you what, this one, Junkyard Joe, was extremely good. Extremely good. If you read Geiger, you definitely need to pick that one up. It's probably one of the best comics I've read in quite a while. 100%.
Wow, that's pretty high praise.
That is high praise.
Yeah, it was everything about it. I mean, it's like, I think it was $4.99, but it's got like a cardstock cover. It was a big oversized first issue. The artwork was top notch. And just a well-developed story for a first issue. They did honestly an incredible job with it.
I have a question I read Night of the Ghoul 4 months ago on Comixology. Was it all 6 chapters or whatever it was in the book?
I think it was 2 parts. I think
2 parts. I'm just curious how they're kind of.
Let me double check. I'm pretty sure it was 2 parts.
Well, today in the comics chat on Twitter, they were like, "All you Comixology people, STFU," because we want to enjoy the book in peace, which is fair. I mean.
But yeah, it was surprisingly, well, not surprisingly, I'm a big horror fan, but it was really good. I think it's put up in 2 parts.
Okay.
Yeah, part 2. Yeah, it's the first 2.
Yeah, I think between the art and, you know what I mean, it's perfect. In that for the horror season, this week another Scott Snyder book came out. Apparently, that guy's got the horror bug in a big way now. Again, Book of Evil, and I think this is a thing that 3 months from now we'll be talking about when Book of Evil Part 1 comes out. Very cool. I don't want to do any spoilers because this stuff comes out on Comixology first, and I don't want to spoil it. But I'll just tell people. Put Book of Evil on your pull list for probably March, maybe February next year.
All right, so I'm just looking up, obviously, the upcoming MCU movies. Let me see. So, all right, so obviously the next one is Wakanda Forever. Did you say you got tickets already?
Yeah.
Man, how far in advance they sell those tickets?
At least a month.
Why don't you just get a Regal VIP pass like John?
Well, if you want to go see it on, is it Wednesday night or Thursday comes out?
Probably Thursday.
So Amy's always first. I know this is like Doctor Strange. You had already pre-ordered tickets, right? Let me see. That cover on that ghoul reminded me so much of Castle Grayskull from He-Man.
Oh, no.
All right. So Wakanda Forever, November 11th, 2022. And then after that, Ant-Man and Wasp, Quantumania, February 17th, 2022.
Oh, that's February? I thought that was for some reason coming out this year. I guess
no, the one thing I
was probably supposed to, and then it got moved.
it probably got
they
moved
pushed
back.
stuff back.
But the one thing I think that Marvel does get down fairly well is the timing of releases. There's enough time in between each. They're not like right on top of each other, or you've got to wait 2 years for each one.
It feels
So-
like movie, TV show, movie, and it's just like a
Yeah.
really nice, nice little gap in between, I guess.
All right. So JD has a question. Is Quantumania the official end of Phase 4?
I believe they said
yeah.
Black Panther's going to be the end of Phase 4,
Oh,
and then Quantumania is going
Oh,
to kick off
yeah,
Phase 5.
Yeah, you're right.
All right. I had not heard that.
That Ant-Man got a major boost in Supervillain. You know, that first Ant-Man movie, it was Yellow Jacket, played by a not overwhelmingly positively received actor. And now
Who was Yellow Jacket?
Corey something is the guy's name.
I can't picture him all of a sudden.
He was in The Strain. He's like a bald-headed guy who wore a terrible toupee for the movie. It was not good. You know, there's only so much that they can do when an actor is like, they have to act everything else around them. You know, you got Michael Douglas. It was not good. It was not good. The idea of Yellow Jacket armor is cool. The rest, not so much. The villain for Quantumania is Kang.
Corey Stoll. I think
Corey
he was
Stoll,
playing
that's his
a crazy Elon Musk.
Yeah, basically that's, you know.
That's actually a good comparison, JD. Yeah, now I can picture him. You know, that I thought was kind of a surprise, but it was mostly the casting. They pretty much got the casting right on the Ant-Man series, I think. You know,
Ant-Man's been top notch.
Yeah. You know, that's where I think Thor Love and Thunder missed the mark. You know, Ant-Man is funny, but it's because who you cast is funny, you know, and they didn't try to make a hard, like, left turn. You know, Love and Thunder, you made a hard left turn. You turned, you know, what was once serious into you know, tongue-in-cheek comedy. And again, with the Screaming Goats, I can't stand Screaming Goats. I can't even.
And that's the thing too with Paul Rudd. Like it's I don't want to say it's like dry humor, but he kind of has that, and he just makes those little one-liners work.
Yes.
And it's not. It doesn't, like you said, it doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel like, all right,
Chris
this conversation
Hemsworth.
Needs 2 jokes now.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Hemsworth, you know, you're you know, you're the god of thunder. It's you know, it just didn't work. You know, I still can't get over that. I was very, very disappointed in that movie after I saw it. I was like, and then the Screaming Goats. What is the point of the Screaming Goats?
The new bane of your existence.
Oh my Lord. Okay. You're watching a movie, and then here comes the Screaming Goats. It was so distracting. You know, first time, okay. Second time, all right. Okay, stop now, please. You know,
I'm with you on
sixth
that.
time into it, it's like, come on, guys.
We're going to get like a sound clip of the Screaming Goats, and they're going to be played every time the Rex Cap starts.
I guarantee you, JD will find it if it's out there.
Every time let's go to a Rex Cap, Goats scream.
No, that's JD's take on Paul Rudd. That is like spot on.
Yeah.
I
I remember.
Paul Rudd was born 30 minutes from here, 20 minutes from here.
Was he? I did not know that.
Yeah, he's like a Sweetsboro guy.
Oh, no kidding. I didn't know.
Paulsboro,
did not know that.
Paulsboro, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, you look at all of his characters, even his stint on Friends, you know, it's always that normal guy, and it works that way, right? It really, really does work that way. But, you know, that's not going to work for everybody. So he was well cast for the direction that they wanted to take the Ant-Man movies.
Any guy who's doing an interview with Apple News and mentions Wawa, you can tell that guy was.
I didn't see that interview, so
it was. There's an interview series on Apple Plus, and he was one of the guests, and they talked about like the ridiculous range of the stuff he's done, from you know, the early stuff to he's Ant-Man now, and he mentioned this, that, and he said in a lot of ways I'm still that guy. He's like sitting in the Wawa parking lot, stoned at 3 a.m. eating a sandwich. And I'm like, yeah, that pretty much describes about 75% of the people in South Jersey in that time period, the 80s, 70s, 80s.
All right, so going further down the list, so we've got The Last Guardians of the Galaxy, and that's coming out May 5th, 2023.
They're also supposed to have a holiday special coming out this year.
Yeah, I saw that somewhere. Yeah, some sort of Christmas special.
Hopefully we get season 2 of Brute Shorts.
I don't know how that's.
I thought those were very enjoyable.
I don't know how that's going to work because it didn't work so good for Star Wars when they tried it. Oh, that was brutal. That was brutal. And then in the summer of 2023, The Marvels.
Woo!
So that should be a good one. I'm interested to see how they.
Hopefully.
Yeah, my God, I hope it doesn't take that Love and Thunder.
See, I like Miss Marvel, but Captain Marvel, I don't know about her. I don't think Brie Larson did a good job. I'm willing to give her one more try. It was a rough script. I didn't like it.
It wasn't the best script of all time, but I liked that movie. I enjoyed it. I had no problem.
They got a new team behind this new one. They got a new director. They got new people on the script.
Yeah, but the danger is, how that script comes out, because you saw what happened with Love and Thunder. If you make that hard left turn and try to be something you're not, it's not going to go well. So now you're taking what was essentially a kids TV series and an action movie, and you're trying to combine all of this. That's the danger, I think.
Well, remember the old thing from The Kids Are All Right? That's exactly what they're building towards. They're building towards that Runaways, Young Avengers level of, you've kind of had the big three. The original Avengers have done their thing, right? Tony Stark is dead. Thor has sort of moved on with his life. Captain America is
retired,
no longer Captain America. So now you've got all these other people that are going to show up. They hinted at Patriot in the Winter Soldier series.
Right.
They seem to be kind of moving towards that Young Avengers, the Young Avengers vibe there. And in order to use a pro wrestling term, in order to get those characters over, they have to go over with established characters like Captain Marvel. And I'll be the first to admit, I'm not a Brie Larson fan. When I heard they were doing Captain Marvel, I set my feet and I wanted it to be Katie Sackhoff. And I was not interested in anyone other than Katie Sackhoff, except Catherine, I can't think of her name now. She was in Vikings.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Catherine, I can't think of her name now. I had a very short list of people that I thought could legitimately pull off Captain Marvel. Brie Larson was not on that list by a mile. In all fairness, she did the best she could.
I liked her Captain Marvel. Katie Sackhoff, I don't see it. I don't see it.
She's Starbuck. Are you kidding me?
I know
Starbuck
she's
is practically Captain Marvel without the powers.
I disagree. Let's see.
Star Wars doesn't.
And weird. Yeah, I agree about Paul Rudd and Ghostbusters Afterlife. Let's see.
That was like another feel-good movie. It was about 50% funny and 50% feel-good. They bring some of the other characters back.
Yeah, no, I agree. All right, so then further down the list are all to-be-announced dates. And the next one...
She was great in Scott Pilgrim.
Catherine Wayne, thank you.
So the next one is... Hey, Marcus, what's up, buddy? Fantastic Four. Now, that's a loaded question because the Fox deal, Disney Fox deal was completed in March of 2019. But as we all know, that every iteration has been pretty much a failure. It hasn't worked on any level, no matter who's gone out and tried to do it, starting with the horrible Corman film. But Corman's film was low budget, and they did it to keep the license. They had to do something. So they threw this really crappy movie together, and there you go.
It's supposed to be started Phase 6.
So I don't know.
The ones with Chris Evans in them, I genuinely don't hate those movies. Mainly the first one. I thought
it wasn't that bad.
No, I didn't hate them.
From what I remember.
And the bar was pretty low when they came out with that movie. The only thing you had to compare was the Corman movie, which was never released, and everybody saw a pirated version of it. And we all knew they made that for like $2.5 million or something like that. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't good. Okay. I felt like
you can tell everyone though, liked working together. I felt the family aspect with those four actors. Second one definitely could have had a better story, and there are moments I roll my eyes at. But the first one, I
didn't like the first one because
I remember renting it for the first time and enjoying it.
My problem with the first one was they moved away from what Doom is supposed to be, and they just tried to carbon copy it. And he actually was the Green Goblin, the attitude, and then the whole competition between. And Weird loved them. The competition between Reed Richards and Doom, over Sue Storm just didn't make any sense. That was unnecessary. It was an unnecessary addition complication that didn't make any sense. The stretching they've got to do something with, but I believe that'll get better because of technology things.
The stretching that we saw a little bit of in Multiverse of Madness, I thought was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, and then obviously the last movie was horrible. on every level. But that wasn't necessarily because of the actors, but because of the
That was a
friction
filmmaker.
between the
Who left the
filmmaker and the
industry
studio,
when it was so
and
bad.
yeah, just that it was a disaster before they even released it. So it's just a tough. Robbie and I talked about it on his Friday show. He actually wanted us to rank the FF movies in order.
They'll tie for last.
Well, I said, so he asked, one of the questions he asked was, how do you make this work? And I went back to one of your suggestions that I thought would be a very good way of doing it. Don't put them in present day. Put them in the 60s.
Yeah.
Okay. With, it'll be neat just because of the cars and the buildings and the way people are dressed on the street. And then, then Robbie asked, well, how do you move them into the current MCU? I said, that's easy. You got the multiverse. You already have the multiverse. You just write that in somewhere. But
you can have it be
time
a couple
travel.
ways. Time travel.
They got stuck in a black hole or something.
There's no reason to believe so many crazy things have happened to Fantastic Four. Even when Jack Kirby was still writing the book decades ago, there's no reason to believe that they couldn't step into a doorway. This is a guy who discovered the negative
also
zone.
has a good point. Like,
and step
all
out.
the stuff before Marvel, they were right. They were made with kids in mind. They had to keep them simple, with a few exceptions with certain movies.
I agree with what JD's saying. I mean, I understand that, but again, Spider-Man was made with that in mind, and that worked. That's what I'm saying.
For Fantastic Four, wasn't there like a little comment in Multiverse of Madness, and Doctor Strange is looking at John Krasinski? He's like, "Didn't you guys chart in the '60s?" Like, so wasn't. Yeah. So maybe there was something like at least like some kind of story about this new group of people, and something might have happened.
Yeah, I think that can work. You can get one, maybe even two movies, and then at the end of the second movie, it's that the whole time travel, multiverse, whatever happens, and you can make that work. I think that
you don't want to use this too often because they used it in Captain America. Mm-hmm. But there's no reason to believe they can't do a Fantastic Four movie set in the 60s, involve Doom, whatever. It seems like they can't make a Fantastic Four movie without Doom. Okay, whatever. Where at the end of the movie, and I think this might actually work, they did a comic decades ago that had this end, and I always remembered the hook. The book was not that great, the art was not that great, but the hook was great. The bad guy wins, and it's almost like the Superman exit, where in order to escape imminent doom, they just jump into the ship or doorway or whatever you want to call it without having the controls properly calibrated, because the alternative is they die or they take the risk. And then they simply come out in the current MCU. And this way you can have them be both from another reality and set in the 1960s. There is no property that Marvel does that is set in that time period more than the Fantastic Four. And to be honest, a huge amount of the Fantastic Four's DNA is from Challengers of the Unknown, which Jack Kirby did in the 50s. So you're basically trying to modernize, you're trying to modernize a property that's 70 years old.
Right.
And it's different. It's not like Spider-Man is whatever you. Spider-Man is different. A lot of these things change. The Fantastic Four story is rooted in the time period, which is why for a long time it was their bestseller until time kind of left them behind, right? The idea of a scientist and his best friend and his girl and the girl's kid brother that sneaks on as almost like a castaway, right? You look at 50s movies, half the movies in the 50s were like that.
Right. So, Amy, you look like you had something to say.
I mean, if you think about it, there is a good Fantastic Four movie that exists. It's called The Incredibles.
Yep, absolutely.
Boom, boom.
I was gonna say, realistically,
it's a great movie, but if you think about it, it's almost Fantastic Four.
Basically it.
So,
Stevie B, enjoy, my friend. Thanks for being here, buddy.
I was gonna say, realistically, Marvel could 100% cheap out and just have them as a cameo, pop into something for one of these TV shows once it gets a little bit closer, and then whatever characters are like, "What are you guys doing?" They're like, "Where are we?" And it's just like, they come from whatever dimension or time, and now they're in present time. And then the movie's kind of based off of that. Now them dealing with their lives now back in the present. And I don't know. They could do so many different things.
All right. So John Spilios wants you to pick the
what
next
haven't
book.
we done yet? Let's go with this. Let's go with this. The other slab we have, Amazing Spider-Man.
All right, here. Let's do that one. All right, so we've got, let's see, Amazing Spider-Man #1, CGC graded 9.8. What is it's a legacy, isn't it? There's a legacy number on it, but this is actually brand new, just came in the door, more or less. Suggested retail of $89.99. We have one available for $69.99.
Nice.
You better read that. It's a legacy issue. Let me see. Spider-Man #1. It is legacy issue number 895. All right, so that is a 9.8. Man, too bad Lars Man isn't here. All right, so then the last few, well, obviously Deadpool 3, I'm expecting to be a good one. Mainly because Ryan Reynolds is just great in that role. That role was made for him. So that should be interesting. Let's see.
Well, you've got the situation now where do you want to pull Deadpool into the MCU? I think there's a significant amount of money and people that would say, yeah.
They got to be careful with how they do it, but
yeah.
Well, they've got to do it with XMen. They've got to do it, so there is a connection there with Deadpool. And weird legacy issue means that if they didn't switch the numbers around, this would have been, if they just kept the numbering system, this would have ended up being Amazing Spider-Man number 895, but it's #1. So that's what I mean by legacy issue, my friend. So, and then the Spider-Man trilogy is not over, right? So they're going to come out supposedly with another one. And then you got X-Men, and you got Blade. Now, Blade should be interesting because the way that I see it, Blade is the one that's kind of started all of this, unbeknownst to everyone. Okay, because Blade was not, was not but it showed that a comic book based, and it didn't have to be Superman, didn't have to be Batman, didn't have to be Spider-Man, could work. So I think high hopes for that one as well. But somebody asked if The Crow was a superhero movie. And I think John Spillers, I would say yes, it is. But here's the problem with that franchise. I don't think you can ever make it work again. Okay, because when Brandon Lee ended up dying, he kind of took that with him. They tried, it didn't work. That was
you're probably right, but you could probably find another actor to pull the Crow off.
Maybe if enough time
I
passes.
also think The Crow is a horror movie. The Crow is a Revenant.
Yeah,
essentially, that's a horror movie. I don't.
But it doesn't mean it's not a
comic book movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's a comic book movie. It's not a superhero movie.
Fair enough. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
he's kind of a superhero.
You go back and read the original Crow. He's a Revenant. Like it's a reinterpretation of the Irish legend of the Revenant. Because you did something wrong, and now I'm going to make your life miserable until you die.
Right. But that maybe if enough time passes, it can work. But for me and everybody that remembers that, Brandon Lee was at the getting just about ready to make that next step. He made a lot of martial art movies.
I think he was getting ready to
they were okay. There was nothing wrong with them, but it just felt like he was being typecast because, you're Bruce Lee's son. We're going to put you in an action film.
And even he understood that. I saw an interview where he understood that. He's like, there's no way I'm not going to get scripts for martial arts movies. It's just not going to happen.
So, but The Crow was that jump that I felt like was going to be his jump to that next level. And then, of course, he suddenly passed away, unfortunately.
First Marvel movie, Howard the Duck.
Howard the Duck.
Yeah,
I remember Howard the Duck.
What's the first Marvel movie?
That was kind of creepy.
Is Conan before or?
Conan.
Is Conan the Barbarian before?
Yeah.
Howard the Duck.
Yeah, Conan is an old one. That's way back in the day.
Yeah, like the original Conan with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I think that might predate Howard the Duck, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think Blade was the first one where your source material, because Conan you got to look at. Marvel may have had the license, but
that's very much
the source material.
Robert
exactly.
Howard.
So that wasn't really theirs, but I consider Blade was that pivotal moment, because Blade proved that a comic book title that most people were not. Oh yeah, that's right, the Doctor Strange movie in the 70s. I totally forgot about that one.
Well, those were TV
I did
movies,
too.
right? They did a bunch of TV stuff. You had Nicholas Hammond as Spider-Man, I think was first.
That was horrible. Oh my god! And I watched it.
And that was terrible. And then
the Captain America one with the transparent shield.
Red Brown was Captain America. Then they had Rex Smith, who is better known as Nighthawk, did Daredevil. And in Daredevil, they also involved, I can't remember his name. He was a pretty prominent character actor in the 70s and 80s. He played a terrible version of Thor, and then they had Luke
I remember that
as the Hulk.
Yes.
They've always been shooting for that. Yeah, there were Captain America film serials.
That's true. If you want to get technical, you're right. All right. So we got to go to our last and final break. Stay with us. We'll be back in a couple minutes.
Although, was it Marvel then, or was it Timely?
Get the inside scoop on everything happening at the experience every week. Join our mailing list by scanning the QR code at the bottom of the screen and then watching your email inbox.
You just finished the last episode of your favorite new show and you just have to talk about it. But all your friends are ghosting you because of that incident last week at the buffet. Oh, you know the one. What you did to that chowder. Ugh. Keeps me up at night. So what do? Join writer Dan Wickline as he breaks down all your favorite pop culture media. Whether it's a review of the latest nerdy TV show or a dive back into the history of your favorite comic characters, Dan's ready to discuss all the hottest topics live. Join the conversation as Dan live streams Tuesday through Thursday at 5 Eastern, 2 Pacific on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. The Dan Wickline Show on The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales.
There's something for every imagination at your local comic shop. Visit ComicShopLocator.com to find a store near you.
Who would win, Batman or Superman? It's the age-old debate, except it's so much more complicated than that. Nerd Killer Warfare every week on The Experience is your chance to debate other nerds in the questions we've all been asking for years, except we take those debates and turn them up to 11. Go to bit.ly/EXP casting or scan the QR code to be part of the show.
Hi, I'm Jacob Murray, writer of The Eighth Immortal and Court of the Dead comic from Sideshow Collectables, and you're watching The Experience.
All right, so that's right. Showdown in Little Tokyo. Richard Purcell Jr. was Captain America in 1944 Republic Pictures.
There's a bunch of Republic serials on, I think, Amazon Video.
Oh, really?
You have Amazon Prime. I watched, Green Hornet, of course, but I bought that on DVD anyway. But I had Green Hornet, Captain Marvel.
Really?
There's an actor who was pretty well known for the time. He does the thing, and Shazam, and why can't I think of his name now? He turned it into Jerry Ordway. Turned the first 4 episodes of the serial into Power of Shazam when he came back to do that hard.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Yeah. All right, so let's get.
We
got
a
a
scorpion and its legs, and it's got lenses, and it forms the death ray. And
all right, we got a handful of books left, so let's get through them. All right, so next up we got Uncanny X-Men #2, Silver Signature Series, signed by Chris Bacalo.
It's a nice cover. That's not a traditional X-Men cover, but I like that.
Suggested retail is $69.99. We have number 13 of 20 signed in silver at $40.
Hey, I don't think we ever hit on it, but what was that that heated argument from like an hour ago now? I've been waiting on that.
It wasn't really an argument. It was just me venting about
Oh.
people criticizing stuff. And
Yeah, nobody disagreed with her. Or at least I didn't. I was right on board with her. We were just talking about modulating and moderating critique and criticism. It's one thing to say, this isn't good, whatever. When creators get death threats and stuff like that, or when people use like these lame terms like, I won't watch that because it's woke. Not only do I not know what you mean, but I just immediately know what you're trying to say. And I just
you're showing you're an asshole.
Language.
Yeah.
So
That's how I feel. There we go.
I've got a comment on that, but let me get the next book up. All right. So then we have Nick's number 1, Chris O'Gage signed Atlas edition. Suggested retail $49.99. We have the one available for $19.69.
It's like the comments when you also see the MCU, when you see those all the time.
Yeah, I just look past stuff like that. I'm like, hey, look, man, if you don't want to see the movie,
Then don't.
I've said that to people. I'm going to see this movie enough for the both of us. You stay home. I will wind up seeing Wakanda Forever at least once a day for a week and a half, because that's kind of the way it works now for me in Marvel movie. So if somebody's like, I don't want to see the movie, stay home. I got you covered.
So Josh Wentz says, Hulk out, Amy.
That'd be great. Amy Smash.
All right. So somebody once described to me, and it was an excellent way of describing it. And they liken social media because it's the venue that causes these kind of problems. So he described it to me. He said, social media is like road rage. People behind the steering wheel of their car will act a certain way if they're cut off or something like that. And they would never act that way in a business meeting or dinner with friends or anything like that.
You never flip out in court or in church or in a hospital like that.
Exactly. So now social media has become that vehicle that you're behind the steering wheel, and people believe that they can say anything and be as extreme as they possibly can, and that's wrong. And that's the unfortunate part. So I agree with Amy in that sense, is that sometimes I think people just do it to get click. It's like clickbait or whatever. Somebody agree with me, or even worse, it's somebody. I want them to attack me. I'm trying to get under your skin.
And what I was telling John, like I respect constructive criticism. It's like I wish something was executed like a little this way. I understand that. I can name 100 things that I will do the same kind of criticism on. But if you're just blatantly complaining about something because why did SheHulk do this episode? That was so stupid. Why they gotta make her look better than just shut up.
But you look at it, it's like I remember when it became popular, all the comment sections on different articles and stuff. And I used to get into it, and that's when I realized that what am I doing? I'm wasting my time arguing with some faceless guy on a computer, okay, who may just be. I remember growing up, there's that kid who would just annoy you, and he knew something he was doing was annoying you, so he would keep doing it, okay? But the difference is that in a playground environment in the 4th grade, somebody's liable to punch somebody else in the face.
I'm not touching you.
Yeah,
I'm not
kind of thing, right? So that's what it's kind of become. And what you're talking about is a comment on society as a whole, unfortunately, is that you have more people that spend more time looking at this stuff, John Cole, and their universe is there. And that's how they interact.
If you don't have a good reason to not dislike something, if you don't have a good reason for not liking SheHulk, then just don't talk to me. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear your dumb reasons. Just no, I don't care. I don't care. And the people who have to put every single opinion that they have on everything out on the internet, do you really not have anything better to do?
A lot of people don't.
Me, no, but I wouldn't do it.
John, we know, has the time. Okay.
No. And the funny thing is, so I saw someone in the comments do I get bored seeing the same movie every day for a week? Depends on the movie. If it's an MCU movie, then no. If it's some talk. Oh, somebody killed. We'll have to figure out who it is. It takes them 2 hours to figure out who it is when they've shown the killer in the beginning of the movie. Anybody who grew up reading Ellery Queen knows how to solve these murders. Please don't make me sit there. That's why I'm happy to have my wife, with all of her British TV subscriptions, watch whatever you like. Please don't make me watch it.
All right, so let's get to the last of the books. So we also have, Heroes in Crisis #1, signed by Tom King in gold. Suggested retail of $89.99.
Wow.
We have one signed in gold for $50.
That really is how it is, though. I mean, Edward just said anonymous bravery, but imagine just like your outlet is to have an account that has no association to you at all, like fake little thumbnail, profile picture, fake name, fake everything, no association to you. And you just go in, you could watch a video, literally some random video, for example, like a house being redone. And you just comment, be like, it looks terrible. I mean, it is funny if it's like you, the person doing it, but I totally understand that, it's just some people are like that. That's what they do.
Well, obviously, the problem and the issues reach now far beyond the world of comics or the MCU or the DC universe or whatever. It has infected just about every facet of society, and it's something we kind of have to, going to have to deal with, and it is causing, how do you want to put it? It's causing a new type of mob mentality. I think it was Shakespeare or somebody that commented that it was interesting to see a normal human being wouldn't do something, but in a mob, they'll do it. The mob mentality, so to speak. And in a very strange way, social media has become the virtual mob.
Oh, absolutely is.
You can find somebody to disagree with. You can find somebody you can't agree with. You can get into arguments, and there really are very few repercussions.
I will say this: if you're not going to have access to the internet be attached to someone's social security number, which was an idea that was floated in the early 90s, there was also an idea floated that your email address was going to be controlled like your regular mail by the United States Postal Service. You would have to verify who you were, and that would give you access to the internet. That was probably, in retrospect, a genius idea that should have been done. Instead, they opened the floodgates, they let the mob do what they do, and now, 25, 30 years later, this is where we are, where somebody gets a death threat because they don't like the story they made about the made-up character. I mean, I am not a fan, and I don't mind naming creators at all in this way either. I am not a fan of almost anything Nick Spencer writes. I think
me too.
I think he has a sort of, well, this is what I'm going to do. I'm Nick Spencer, and this is my writing gimmick. And he does it. And the impression is that he sells books, and he puts eyes on the product. So the publisher and the editor let Nick Spencer do whatever he wants to whatever character he wants. That being said, there is no reality where it's okay for that guy to get death threats if he's going to do a signing at a comic book store.
So Creative Keep says he comes from a family of truck drivers, and he remembers as a kid all the drivers would talk crap on the radio, threaten each other, and wouldn't really do anything mostly. I can sort of understand that because, nobody drives a truck for recreation. So every one of those truck drivers has a job. They have to get, whatever they're hauling from point A to point B. And I'm sure one way to kill time was to talk on the CB radio, and then that would eventually lead into crap and stuff. But as you're rolling, down I-95 doing 65 miles an hour, and the guy you're talking to is probably rolling the opposite direction, are you really going to both pull over and get into a fight?
No.
The problem with social media is it's really not anybody's job. And what's happening is we're seeing that cross into real life. Okay. And that, I think, is the difference, it's, I agree with Lyle. It's always easier to side with a mob than standing out alone. It takes bravery to stand out alone.
On the flip side, I will say this: for the most part, now that the ship of decency and control has sailed, you curate your experience on the internet for the most part. I've probably got more than 1,000 accounts muted on Twitter, and I probably have about another 1,000 blocked because they said something I didn't like, and I did not want to see or hear from them again. Now, I've had people tell me that's not what social media is for. It is for me. Same with Facebook. I think I've got about 550 accounts closed because I don't want to see, read, or hear YouTube, hundreds of things I've got blocked. I don't ever want it to come up on my feed, and I mean ever.
I'll be honest with you. Right now, I don't have a lot of social media. So in other words, other than necessarily for work, I don't have a Twitter account. I don't have an Instagram account. All I have is Facebook, which my daughter says is, old people social media.
Yeah, it is for the old.
Yeah, well, whatever. I am old. And really, the only thing that I'll comment on is the only time you'll publicly see me comment. And John and I are Facebook friends, so he knows this. I very rarely post anything. It's usually happy birthday, happy anniversary, my condolences if somebody's passed. The only thing I'll actually comment on is I'm part of these softball groups, and people ask advice and people get into disagreements and arguments and stuff, and I'll throw in my 2 cents, and invariably somebody attacks you. But the only reason I'll comment on softball is I actually have the cred to back it up. So, I'm arguing with some guy whose daughter is playing, 10U softball, and he thinks his daughter is a stud, and he asks something and I comment on it, and then they attack me, and I go, well, guess what? My daughter played in college. I know what I'm talking about. Okay. She started playing when she was 6 years old. So, and that usually shuts them up. Okay. But now what we're finding, so everything changes. Now what we're finding is one of the groups I'm involved in, you can be anonymous. And there have been complaints about that. Okay. To the moderators, because now it's like, it's just as so one group I belong to is called the Fast Pitch Zone. And now you can post stuff and just be listed as member of Fast Pitch Zone. I got a problem with that. If you're going to make a comment, let me see your account.
The administrator of the group.
Oh yeah, I know.
Just not allow. I belong to a Facebook group for South Jersey food. I co-founded it. Like 22,000 people, and it's a lot to wrangle. There's a lot going on. There's businesses promoting themselves. There's people promoting stuff. The truth is, I asked the founder, the admin, I don't think it's a good idea if we allow posts that are anonymous.
Joel, MySpace was cool for about a minute. Unfortunately.
I think MySpace was in that golden age of the internet before things turned really dark. Once you started getting to like Reddit and 4chan, the soul of the internet was
I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
Definitely 4chan. 4chan's a rough place.
When terrorists are like, we have a preferred social media platform. Okay, you kind of lost me at that point.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, it's just, Lyle says he's so happy he was born in the 50s and still enjoy comics and people with the same interests like everyone here. Everything else is garbage, in my opinion only. I wouldn't disagree with that. There is so much clutter and noise now that everyone gets a little lost. And people, people that probably need some counseling help get caught up in this and believe it's all real. And I think that, I like to think that Lyle, John, myself, people of our generation, we grew up without these things. So whatever personality we are, I'll tell you right now, some of the crap I see on social media, my mom would have been horrified. Okay. And if she saw me writing something like this or attacking something like this, she would be horrible. She'd be horrified by it. So, Preston, yes, there is. So, you know what? Let's get to it. There are only 4 books left here on the list. All right. So we have King in Black #3, signed in silver by Ryan Stegman. Number 8 of 30. Suggested retail of $69.99. We have one available for $50. All right. And then we have our Dynamite books here. All right, we have Unbreakable Red Sonja #1, David Finch, Virgin cover, suggested retail $50, and we have one available for $40.
Nick is a big fan of David Finch. It tells you about David Finch's busy schedule that's taken him this long to get him on Red Sonja.
Nick's next up, Nick's number 10, Gibo Vigante. Is that right, Amy?
Yeah, I mean, look at that.
Vigante. Yeah.
Close enough.
Close enough. I think this is the end of this run, I want to say. I could be wrong if I'm.
And this is the black and white version cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nick's is done for now. I talked about this. There'll be more Nick's.
Oh, yeah.
I just talked about this today. They're kind of wrapping up Nick's now. Nick's will be back either in her own series or there's a possibility, and I don't want to spoil too much, but there's some things that are being discussed and worked on for next year. So you'll see Nyx again. I'm just not 100% sure if it'll be in her book or a different book with with multiple characters.
Right. All right. And then the last book of the night, Garbage Pail Kids Origins #1, John Pound Virgin cover, suggested retail $50. And we have one available for $40.
It's just a fun book to read. I mean, people like wondering where this kind of fits. It's just a fun read. It's
nostalgic.
Yeah, it's nostalgic. It's fun. It's the kind of thing where I know a guy who's reading this and showing it to his son, who is the same age as when he, you know what I mean? So it's like he's able to introduce his kid to Garbage Pail Kids. And
so Josh made an interesting comment. I'm pro anonymity, but it is interesting in this small group of people, we strangely seem to use a lot of real names. You're right. I have no problem with anonymity, but the problem is if you're going to attack someone, then I feel you should be brave enough, in your opinion, to reveal yourself. Okay, it's very easy to attack someone behind the wall of nobody knows who I am type thing.
I get asked that all the time because you find me on social media and it's my name, and people are like, "How do you have your name?" Because when I got on the internet, it never occurred to me at the time to, have some kind of like weird name, like food guy or movie addict or whatever. It was just my name.
And I'm not certainly taking credit for this. As I've mentioned many times, when we started the show over a year and a half ago, John and I, our first few shows, we had no idea what direction we wanted to move in. We did know we didn't want to turn it into a regular claim show.
Yeah, we didn't just
one comic right after the next.
Because there's a million of those things.
Yeah, and nothing against those shows. There's some very good ones with great product, great pricing. But that's not what we wanted it to be. So it's evolved into this, and it's interesting because I don't think we had any idea where it was going to evolve.
No, I mean, if I assumed if people wanted an issue of something, right? I need Daredevil 225. I'm going to assume you're going to go to your local comic book store. And if he or she doesn't have it in stock, you can go online. There's like a ton of options for you to get books. Not to mention, almost everybody's a retailer that's connected to the experience, right? Hit up any of these people and they will find your book. That's not what I think people watch the show for.
We have a lot of returning viewers that join us, every week. And really a community has evolved out of this. And again, I'm not taking credit for this. It's not like we had some sort of plan. It just kind of, it just organically evolved into what it is. And I think it's great. This is a show where, our viewers, far from trying to snipe each other on best offers, this show has turned into something where, where viewers will help each other out. Okay. No, I'm not going to get that because you want it. You go ahead and have it. We've had viewers chip in to buy things for other viewers. And I like to think that, as we're sitting here talking about the evils of the internet and social media, that there are positives. I can't believe that we're the only show on the internet that has this kind of community. I hope that we're not, because that would be a very sad statement. But, the one thing I love doing about this show, and I'm very proud of what we've done, is we've created this community. And of course, Alex become part of it. Robbie's become part of it. Certainly John, Amy as well, and all of our viewers. And that's a real positive thing, So,
Josh, it's funny.
All your alt accounts. Thank you, Lyle. I do too. It's supportive. People support each other. Of course, the comics is the common interest that brings everyone here. But that doesn't, we're not walled in. We'll talk about anything. Spam, how horrible Blade Runner 2049 was.
Oh no! And with that, I'll say goodnight. No, I think most of the
I'm not hiding behind a mask. I admit it. Amy knows it's my opinion.
Somebody did a circle on Twitter one day, and I thought it was really, really accurate. And comics were in there, sports were in there, pro wrestling was in there, food was in there, and it's kind of like people like to talk about these things, right? Best burger, best pro wrestling, best comic book. And it all has a very similar attraction to or participation in a creative activity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's something that people really enjoy interacting with, discussing. Yes, there's absolutely the dark side where, horrible things are said or whatever. But, and I'm not trying to pat myself on the back here, but I use the internet and social media to retire with. Before that, I was one of about a zillion guys that was catering lettering events in South Jersey. and the internet hit, and 20 years later, I'm retired and going to the movies every day. So there is an upside to sort of reaching out to the people.
What Edward said, that's so nice.
Thank you, Edward, for writing. That's really, I love to hear that, and it's these days, most of the news you see on social media is of a negative nature.
Yeah, it's not great. People bashing each other, saying things they shouldn't be saying, making threats, hacking people's accounts.
Although those guys, I don't know if everybody's read this story. Those guys at the fishing tournament that got caught with the
Yo, I saw that video.
Fisher, okay, they should be trolled online. Okay, that is horrific what they did. Okay, cheaters, my gosh.
See, I'm gonna be honest. I mean, I knew it was obviously bad to cheat for that, but I didn't realize just the scale of the cheating that they've done.
Oh, and there's big prize money in these things, dude.
They said last year alone they won the major tournament that was 150K, and they cheated in that one, and they've been cheating, I guess, in all of them since then.
Yep.
I think they said they netted over around 400.
But the level of cheating was sophisticated in the sense that they had the sinkers in there, and then they separate the sinkers with fillets of the fish, of different fish, right? So they don't clink together. So it's weird. It was, I forget exactly where it was. It was a walleye tournament. And the video's online. And weird, after the show, just Google it. It'll come right up, dude. The video's online. Watch the whole video.
Yeah, they caught him.
And
they got him.
This pair, they've been, yes, that's right. The Chess World as well. I read that one as well. One of the Grandmasters has been cheating. And then the website he was playing on, they found out he cheated at least 100 times.
Yeah.
Really?
So, yeah. So these two guys, these two fishermen, there have been rumors about them being cheaters. One failed a polygraph in another fishing tournament earlier in the year, and they're weighing, and they had the heaviest catch, and then all of a sudden the guy who owns the tournament just screams out, we have weights in the fish, and then he starts gutting all the fish. And every single one of them had sinkers in it, and it were so sophisticated. They put fillets in between the sinkers so they wouldn't clunk together when people lifted the fish out. I mean, it was that naked. I mean, and people were losing their minds.
People were screaming like, "Call the cops! Call the cops!" Yeah, they were going nuts.
Yeah, they were dropping the F-bomb. They were angry, man. And I don't blame them. You know.
No, but I do respect the guy who initially was that caught them. I guess I guess the video I watched, at least, he was making an announcement. It was like, I don't want any harm to come to these guys. I want them to just leave.
He owns a tournament.
That was that was him.
Tournament, yeah.
So I mean, as bad as like all of that was, I mean, that was, at least he was, on that level of like, just let him go.
I think he knew that at that point. I mean, literally, they would be drawn and quartered.
Oh my God! Yeah, of all the things too, you're gonna mess with fishermen. Oh, come on.
Yeah, I mean, and I hate to say it, it's probably going to result in a crime because they defrauded prize money.
Yeah,
well, it's already a crime.
Yeah,
I mean, if they defrauded prize money, we're already looking at some.
So I'm going to be following it. Unfortunately, because of my daughter's softball career, last time I had a fishing license when I was 12. But we all tell fish stories. That's part of the process. Somehow the fish was a little bigger than than it really was.
I caught one as long as my leg. No, you didn't. Let me tell you right now. No,
I will tell you a fish story on Monday. Next Monday, I had one. Biggest carp you ever saw. The eye was about this big. Okay, we didn't get it. I made my godbrother jump in. We didn't have a net. I told him take his shirt off, knot it at the end, and we'll try to catch it. I didn't want to let it go. And weird. I thought maybe they put 4 staples and then acid on a walleye or something.
Oh no, worlds collide. Didn't that guy challenge people to a fight at New York Comic Con?
I don't know.
Is that what I saw?
I don't know.
No, I saw that comment earlier. I guess it was what you guys were talking about, but Mark Brooks, I think he's a cover artist. He kind of fell into the whole trolling, and I guess he allegedly was offering to fight people.
Yeah, he called people out. I don't know if the guy knows how to handle himself, or being in New York City and asking people to come up and do violence to me, dude, just stay home. Man.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, so great show, guys. So happy Amy was able to join us today.
Absolutely.
Thank you, of course, as always, Alec. Thank you, John.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
And check Alex's channel out because he gets much more done than we do.
Yeah, without a doubt. Keep in mind, you have
Jesse James is up next. Thank you.
Are we doing? Does Nick have original art on Friday?
Yes.
Okay, so original art with Nick on Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern, and then join me and Robbie on his channel, PCP, Pop Culture Philosophers, on his YouTube channel at noon on Friday.
Oh, yeah, Robbie starts his horror movie thing tonight. So check
and that's right. That's right. Thank you.
The reason for the season.
And the streaker that I got tackled at the Rams game, that was funny. I know. He filed a police report, if you can believe that. All right.
It's an insane world. Return here to put it in context and buy comics.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for joining
See you guys
Have a nice
week.
night. Thank you.
Join the party. Head over to our link tree to find all the links for everywhere the experience is all the time.